let's talk about bulking. As you guys can probably tell, I messed up my bulk this off season. And as a way to kind of self-reflect, but also to help you guys out, today we're gonna be going over 5 things you should or should not do during your bulk. Let's get right into it. Number 1 is going to be eating in a controlled surplus. Keyword there being controlled. Dirty bulking is dead. There's no need for it anymore. It's 2026. We have so many different ways to get around this. So we know there really is no use in it anymore. But the problem I and a lot of other people have while bulking is staying regimented. So how should you do this? Well, first is you realize that bulking is a marathon and not a sprint. You don't just eat everything in sight. It is a slow, calculated period of growth. So to start out, we're gonna assume that you already have your maintenance calorie level. If you don't have that, or if you need help trying to figure that out, click on this video here and I'll help you find out how to find your maintenance calories. So starting from this point, we are going to increase our calorie intake by 200 to 500 at the most. What I recommend is 200 to 300 to start off. Again, we are looking for slow controlled growth. Otherwise, the bulk is pointless and we're just putting on unnecessary amounts of fat, which is going to in turn hurt our progress in the long run and maybe cut our bulk short. This step is part of the reason why my bulk was such a failure this year. Not the main reason, we'll get into that later, but it's definitely one of the big parts. At first, I started off very slow and controlled, but before I even realized, I started to just eat everything in sight and not really track my calories. And I was putting on unnecessary amounts of fat that wasn't actually helping my gains. So again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. 200 to 300 calories above your maintenance level. Great starting point for bulking. Moving on to number 2, prioritize your protein. Again, what happens to a lot of people when they start to bulk, myself included, they just start to eat whatever they want. And a lot of times what we want is not exactly protein dense foods. So we're gonna stick with the pretty universal number of 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Okay, very easy number. Let's say you're 180 pounds, that's 180 grams of protein that you wanna get per day. So whenever you are calculating your meal plan, you need to make sure you're getting around this amount of protein per day. Because in the end, what is a bulk for? To put on muscle. And what do you need to put on muscle? Solid amount of protein. Very simple, that's that. Moving on to number 3, we have your training. Now, this probably isn't what comes to mind first in your head when thinking about how to bulk properly, but this is actually the reason I failed my bulk this off season. There's 2 mistakes that are more common than the rest, I believe, as far as training goes. One is just training for a pump and not training for progressive overload. The mindset that a lot of people get into when they're bulking is my muscles feel full, I'm feeling good, I'm moving some weight around, let me just go in here, get a quick pump, get out. And you can build muscle like this, but obviously this is not the best way to go about it. We need to be aiming for progressive overload. Many of you know what progressive overload is. If not, let's just dumb it down and say you want to be pushing more weight or more reps in your workouts. For example, if I ended the cut and I was able to do chest press 200 pounds for 6 reps, every time I come into the gym, I want to try to either get more weight, so let's say 210 pounds for 6 reps, or I want to do the same weight for more reps. So let's say 200 pounds for 8 reps. We're gonna try to attempt progressive overload because progressive overload is a great indicator of muscle growth. Now, the other mindset that people get into about training during the bulk is that I'm putting extra fuel in my body, I'm gonna be building muscle regardless. I don't necessarily need to kill myself in the gym. And this is the big reason why my bulk was such a failure. Doing less in the gym is a very slippery slope, and this mindset can easily lead you to missed workouts and missed gains. So as far as training goes, you should still be going to the gym, you should still be pushing yourself, and you should be attempting progressive overload when you go into the gym instead of just chasing a pump. This takes us to number 4, which is gonna be recovery. Recovery, everyone knows, is a huge part of building muscle. As mentioned in number 3, we are going to be exercising very hard during a bulk. So it only makes sense that we allow our body to properly recover. And we're going to do this by making sure we get at least 7 hours of sleep per night. This is non-negotiable. And we also want to be utilizing rest days. Rest days are very subjective and you kind of play them by ear. If you need a rest day, take it. Don't take too many rest days, obviously, or you fall back into the mindset that we were talking about in number 3. But yes, rest days are a great tool to help with recovery. And number 5 is going to be monitoring our progress. This is one of the most important steps, and I cannot stress this enough. You are going to be weighing yourself every morning. As soon as you get up, a lot of people, they get up, they instantly go pee. this is what I do. I get up, I go to the bathroom, I instantly step on the scale with no clothes on. And you are going to track that weight every single day. What I do, I simply put it into my notes app. And so I will have a long list of days and my weights. And you're going to be tracking how much you're losing per day. And this is just the monitoring. Monitoring does nothing if you do not adjust your plan. Let's say I'm monitoring myself for the first week, everything's going great. Second week comes along, we're still doing okay. Third week comes along, and all of a sudden I'm not losing weight day by day. After the third week, I haven't lost any weight compared to the second week. We are going to have to adjust our calories, or you could also adjust your cardio. If we are not making progress, we are going to either have to drop our calories or increase our cardio. That's it. There's no other way around it. So you can monitor all you want, but if you do not adjust your plan, it's very useless. So in your head, before you start the bulk, you should have an idea how rapidly you want to lose weight. The standard in the industry is usually like 0.25 to 1 pound per week. At first, you're gonna lose weight a lot more rapidly than at the end, obviously. So at first you might be losing 1 pound a week, 2 pounds a week, but then it's going to slow down and that's fine. But if it comes to a halt, we have some problems and we need to adjust. All in all, bulking is not dead. There's still a very good use for it, but it is a regimented procedure and it's not a free-for-all. Bulking can even be fun. It can be rewarding because you get to eat and drink more than you would on your cut, but in the end, it still needs to be controlled. So don't end up like me. Follow these 5 steps. This is a great starting outline, and I wanna know, comment what other bulking problems you guys have or things that help you in your bulk. Leave them down in the comments, and as always, if you guys liked, subscribe for more. Peace.